The phone vibrated against the mahogany desk, a low hum slicing through the silence of my office at 2 a.m. My wife's name glowed on the screen, Lila. My pulse quickened, not with warmth but with a jagged unease that had been growing for weeks. I answered, my voice hoarse from hours of reviewing case files. Lila, what's wrong? Her laugh, sharp and unfamiliar, cut through the line. Nothing's wrong, James. Just checking on my friend. The word landed like a slap, casual yet deliberate, stripping away the vows we'd exchanged 7 years ago. Friend. My chest tightened, the air in the room suddenly too thin. I leaned back in my leather chair, the city skyline glittering coldly through the floor-to-ceiling windows of my law firm's corner office. See you. Top of the ladder. Yet here I was, unraveling over a single word. My mind replayed her tone, playful, but edged with something I couldn't name. Mockery? Defiance? I forced a chuckle, masking the churn in my gut. Friend, huh? That's a new one. Her pause was too long, a void filled with static and unspoken truths. Oh, come on, she said finally, her voice syrupy. You're always so serious. But the words didn't soothe. They pricked, like a splinter lodged too deep to pull out. For weeks I'd noticed the cracks. Lila's late nights at the gallery, her phone angled just out of view when she texted, the way her eyes darted away when I asked about her day. Small things, easily dismissed as the strain of our demanding lives. I was a workaholic, she was an artist. Our worlds had always orbited differently. But now, those orbits felt misaligned, pulling us apart. I'd rationalized it. Stress, exhaustion, the grind of my firm's latest high-profile case. Yet, deep down, a whisper grew louder. Something was wrong. I left the office, the city's neon pulse blurring as I drove home. Our brownstone loomed ahead, its warm lights a lie against the cold knot in my stomach. Inside, the air smelled of her jasmine perfume, but the house was too quiet. No clink of wine glasses, no soft jazz from her studio. Just silence, heavy and accusing. I found her in the kitchen, pouring coffee, her silk robe slipping off one shoulder. She didn't startle when I entered, didn't turn. You're up late, I said, my voice tighter than I meant. She shrugged, her back still to me. Couldn't sleep. You. Work. I lied, though she didn't ask for more. I studied her. The curve of her neck, the way her fingers lingered on the mug. Once, I'd have crossed the room, kissed that exposed shoulder, felt her melt into me. Now, I stood rooted, the distance between us a chasm. Who were you talking to earlier? I asked, aiming for casual but missing by a mile. Her shoulders stiffened, just for a second, before she turned, her smile too bright. Just a friend from the gallery. You know, art talk. The word again. Friend. It burned, a quiet venom spreading through me. I wanted to believe her, to cling to the life we'd built. The vacations in Tuscany, the late-night debates over legal briefs and paint swatches. But her eyes wouldn't meet mine, and the lie hung in the air like smoke. Right, I said, my voice flat. Art talk. I turned away, my footsteps heavy on the hardwood, each one echoing the question I couldn't ask. Who is he? Sleep eluded me that night. I lay in our bed, her side empty, the sheets cold. My mind churned, piecing together fragments. Her sudden interest in late-night yoga classes, the new perfume, the way she'd laughed at a text during dinner last week, then brushed it off as nothing. Each memory was a thread, weaving a tapestry I didn't want to see. By dawn, exhaustion had dulled the edges of my suspicion but not the ache. I needed answers, but confronting her felt like stepping off a cliff. The next day her mother, Evelyn, arrived for a visit. Evelyn was a force, sharp-witted, with eyes that saw through facades. Over lunch, Lila was all charm, regaling her mother with stories of her latest exhibit. I watched silent, my fork scraping against the plate. Evelyn's gaze flicked to me, then back to Lila, her smile tight. You two seem busy, she said, her tone probing. Lila laughed, too loud. Oh, you know James. Always buried in work. I forced a nod, but Evelyn's eyes lingered on me, searching, as if she sensed the fracture beneath our polished surface. That evening, Lila announced she had to meet a client at the gallery. At 8 p.m. On a Saturday. My jaw clenched, but I said nothing, just watched her slip into a dress that hugged her curves too perfectly. As the door closed behind her, Evelyn poured herself a glass of wine and fixed me with a look. "She's lying," she said simply, her voice low but certain. My heart stuttered. "What?" I managed, though I already knew. Evelyn sighed, her fingers tightening around the stem of her glass. "I've seen that look before, James. With her father. She's not at the gallery." The words gutted me, confirmation of a truth I'd been dodging. Anger surged, hot and reckless, but beneath it, grief clawed at my chest. I wanted to scream, to demand why, but Evelyn's steady gaze held me. "What do I do?" I asked, my voice breaking. She leaned forward, her expression soft but unyielding. "You find out. Then you decide who you are." I drove to the gallery, my hands gripping the wheel until my knuckles whitened. The lights were off, the windows dark. My phone buzzed, Lila's name again. I ignored it, my pulse roaring in my ears. Instead, I called her assistant, Maya, who stammered that Lila hadn't been at the gallery all week. The truth crashed over me, undeniable now. I drove to the address Maya reluctantly gave me, a sleek downtown loft. Through the window I saw them, Lila, her head thrown back in laughter, and a man I didn't know, his hand on her waist. The world tilted. I stood frozen, rain starting to fall, soaking my coat. Heartbreak warred with rage, but worse was the shame. How had I missed this? I'd built a career on reading people, winning cases by spotting lies. Yet here I was, blind to my own wife. I wanted to storm in, to shatter their moment, but my feet wouldn't move. Instead, I called her. When she answered, her voice was breathless, guilty. "James, I said the word cold and final. "You're my ex now." I hung up, my hands shaking. As I turned away, a figure stepped from the shadows, Evelyn. She'd followed me. Her face unreadable but her smile faint, knowing. It said everything. She'd seen this coming, and now so did I. The rain fell harder, blurring the city lights. I walked away, each step heavier than the last, carrying the weight of a life I thought I knew, now broken beyond repair.